Okay, this is part 2, and we're going to continue quickly with verse 4. But thou, Daniel, shut up the words and seal up the book, even to the time of the end, and many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on the other side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the river, which upon the waters of the rivers, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, and half a time, when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people. All these things shall be finished. And I heard, but I understood not. And I said, O Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And God basically told Daniel, go, Daniel, don't worry about this, because this is going to be at the end of the time. So I'm gonna jump down a little bit in my notes here, and but check this out. Daniel asked the question, when will all these wonders happen? But the angel gave him an answer to the following question. It shall be for a time, and a half a time, when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people. All these things shall be finished. So we need to ask the right question to be able to understand the answer to the question that was provided to by the angel. So the question to ask is, when will the scattering of the power of the holy people end? And that is what I am going to seek to give the answer to. Just a little history. When the book of Daniel was written, Daniel was in Babylonian captivity. The nation of Israel had transgressed God's laws. They were disobedient, and God sent them into exile. But God had provided information saying that this is going to be for a time, but at the end, I'm going to regather you and put you back into your land. This was Daniel's main concern. His concern was, when will my people get free of the curse for their transgression, and when will Jerusalem be restored back to the nation of Israel? Restored back. When will Jerusalem be restored back to the nation of Israel? In fact, the Bible relates, as the Bible relates to the nation of Israel, this is the crux of the Bible. God said that he would gather his chosen people back at the end and would bring them back to their land. This is what the 770-week prophecy is about. Yes, this prophecy extends all the way to the end of time, to the coming or the return of Jesus. The nation of Israel has been in exile since then. The nation of Israel has been in exile ever since the destruction of Solomon's temple, which happened in AD 70, and this was, of course, after Christ's death. God said that he would regather his people and bring them back to their land. He said that he would do this, not Britain. What is the time set? He said that he would do this in his own time. Well, what is this time set? Well, this is what I will seek to bring to you. And that is why the angel answered the question about the scattering of Israel, because that is what needs to be answered, because all of the rest of Daniel actually hinges on that. Now now that we have the background, when will the scattering of God's people end? We can go to try to answer that question. Because if we get the answer to that question, as I said, we get the answer to most of the other questions in Daniel. Okay, so the first question to answer is, how long will Israel be given up by God of her transgression? Well, we can get a direct answer to that if we go to Micah chapter 5 and we read verse 2 and 3. But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, thou though thou be little among thousands of Judah, yet of thee shall he come forth unto me that is to be ruler of Israel, whose going forth hath been from old, from everlasting. Therefore will he give them up until the time when she which travaileth hath brought forth. Then the remnants of his brethren shall return unto the children of Israel. So Micah chapter 5 verse 3 is a direct answer to that question. So we have to find out, well, when is she travaileth? Well, in this case, this is where the Revelation chapter 12 verse 1 comes in. That talks about the woman that travaileth. If we read verse 1, it describes a certain configuration of the stars and the moons. If we read verse 2 and 5, it talks about when she actually brings forth. So let's go and read that. Revelation chapter 12. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule the nation with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God unto his throne. The scientific validation of that, if you go to this Stellarium program and you put in the date of the Feast of Trumpets of 2011, which is September 30th, you will see that exact configuration on September 30th, 2011. If you watch the movements of the stars, now Virgo is the constellation that you're going to be watching. Inside of Virgo's belly is Venus, which represents Christ. If you move the stars forward, you go to October 4th, you see that Venus is being born on October 4th. So that is the day that it's brought forth. So we say that let me see. So according to movement of the stars, the child in Virgo's belly, which is Venus, was brought forth on October 4th, 2011. Therefore, according to Micah 5:3, this is the date when Israel is no longer cast out, and thus this is the date when the scattering of the holy people is accomplished. I will also say this is the date when the gathering of the whole holy people began. Now, to use this information to answer the question in Daniel 12:7, which was, when will the scattering of the power of the holy people Israel be? Well, we just told you when that would be. It's going to be October 4th. Now, God said in his word that 3.5 years after that happens is when all those things that we talked about in Daniel 12:1 will have been completed. In other words, when we go back to Daniel 12:1 and we talked about the things that are going to happen that we need to know, Michael the archangel stands up. It's going to be a terrible time of trouble. Daniel people will be delivered, and everybody else that's in the book, people will be wise. So basically, this is the answer. I'm running out, but this is basically what I wanted to tell you, that the date that we need to look at is October 4th, 2011. This is the date when the Israel people overcame their curse. So God is now gathering his people back to him. May God bless you. Read the book of Daniel. This is what God wants us to do right now. He wants us to take this book. He wants us to digest it. He wants us to understand it. He's telling us that it's now open, and there's lots of information that we can get from it to know He wants us to know that we have a lot of things that we need to get correction on.